Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion. The third day of this WTC final has come to a close. South Africa needs 69 runs to claim the WTC miss. Now, I couldn't review the proceedings on day two, but I put out a community post on YouTube saying Australia need 22 runs to get to 240 from 218, and I thought that would win them the match. Now, generally, I've said this in my previous video, on days 2, 3, and 4 at Lords, batting is easier compared to days 1 and 5. But we saw yesterday the batting wasn't great from both sides. After winning the first session, South Africa collapsed for 17 for 5. And then Australia 73 for 7. Alex Carey and Mitchell Starc put up some resistance, scored some handy runs. And then today, the defensive tactics of South Africa enabled Australia to get to where they got to. But the surface did ease out today compared to yesterday. But I thought with the lack of application with the bat yesterday, that would the South African batsmen be able to chase or put a good fist at chasing this score down today? I wasn't sure. But we saw, I think it was mentioned on commentary in the fourth innings, as a 35% decrease in sleeve movement today compared to the previous day. And we saw that, I'm not taking any credit away from the South African batsmen, of course, but we did see that it was easier to bat today than it was in the previous days. And if we're looking at the start of today's proceedings, I thought the reason why South Africa haven't won the match already is because of the defensive tactics of Starc and Hazelwood. We saw yesterday where they put 2 or 3 fielders out on the boundary, and I don't know why. And it was a case where they were able to run singles a lot of the time. I think by then Australia only scored 44 runs in boundaries in their innings at the end of the previous day's play, meaning they'd got a lot of runs through singles. Even today, Mitchell Starc is trying to farm the strike, yet they don't play with that attacking mindset as a fielding side where you bring fielders in. Some deliveries are both short and wide and helped over the slips, Gordon. So I thought that wouldn't help their cause. But after an early wicket was lost at Ryan Rickleton, once again, I'll say if Dean Elgar hadn't retired, then he would have opened. Ryan Rickleton could have played at 6 ahead of Carl Verena. Because Elgar retired, they've had to play Rickleton to open. And before this match, 18 innings, an average of 41, but 0 50s and 2 big centuries. I've mentioned across formats he's not consistent. And is Aiden Markram consistent when opening the batting in Test? Despite he scored a fantastic century today, still no. So you've got 2 very good players. Think if Aiden Markram was batting at 5 and Rickleton at 6, which would be more so their ideal positions, do you not think that average at least 40 odd each and would be winning matches for you on a consistent basis? They surely would do. And because Elgar retired and they've not played someone like a Tony de Zorzi, they've had to play a lottery of an opening combination in Markham and Rickleton, and therefore once again we saw Rickleton being dismissed on a half volley of the same bowler. Rian Muda scored 27 at number 3. Even if he had failed in the innings, I wouldn't have blamed him because he's not at number 3. David Bedingham, who I mentioned in the previous video, he scored 45 in the previous innings. Surely if he had batted at that position, then he would have scored at least that many, at least the 27 that Muda scored. And it looks like it wouldn't impact things because of the 143-run partnership afterwards. But had Steve Smith caught that catch off Bavuma, then things could have been different at 76 for 3. So I don't know how long they'll continue this experiment for, but they've got to do it in this case because the batsmen have played well. Now Bavuma, he picked up a hamstring injury, which he's done so a few times in the past as well, but despite that, he's able to run the 2s, has been continuing his great form throughout this WTC cycle. And Aiden Markram, as I've said before, whenever he plays well in this format, he plays brilliant innings. For example, the 106 against India on a tough pitch in Cape Town. But him and Rickleton, I would not open with them. And I think they will win this match, and deservedly so. But from the next cycle, they can maybe bring back a Tony de Zorzi into the 11, pick another opener so that you could play Markram and Rickleton in the middle order where they're more likely to be consistent. And now on Australia, where on their batting innings, I'd said again, I thought they should play Josh Inglis ahead of Cameron Green. They play Inglis down the order. You can open with Bew Webster and don't tinker with Marnus Labuschagne's position. What did they do? B. Webster once again in this match bats behind Travis Head when I've mentioned if he's walking out in these challenging conditions, especially when he batted, he would not be suited to walking out early. In Australia, the ball moves around for the first 15 overs, then things ease out and he's able to pretend if he walks out at the worst case scenario at 120 for 3, then he's able to play his shots. That would not happen in this case. B. Webster scored 72 runs in the first innings, yet he bats behind Travis Head in this one. I don't get it. And Cameron Green, I'll say this again. If you put your front foot across you when facing the straight ball, then on seaming conditions when someone bowls full and straight, you're going to have problems. Josh Inglis has been in fantastic form, and yet you're playing Cameron Green. People say he's scored in the county season. With how well Josh Inglis has been doing, surely he should have started in this match. And that's why I knew that decision wasn't going to go well. We saw what happened. Now the ball. Now I said South Africa have got an attack where they've got two bowlers, two attacking seamers in Rabada and Jansen. They didn't bowl Maharaj enough, and the tactics were defensive in the field. Rian Moda 1 for 18 and 8 in the second innings, none for 36 and 11 in the first innings. I said he's not a third seamer, and he did his best in this match. And Lungi Ngidi, it says 3 for 38 and 12, but I don't know if I've said this already, but I think it was he was going at 4 and over, and then because Mitchell Starc and Josh Hazelwood, I think Mitchell Starc was refusing a few singles towards the end, and that's why the economy reduced to under 3. So you've got that attack where they've got two bowlers. Now for Australia, Mitchell Starc, everyone was saying, oh, well, what a player. And I'm not saying he's a bad bowler, but I'd said if everyone was fit, Scott Boland should have been selected. Now, after the first day, 2 for 10 and 7, I repeat, Scott Boland would have performed at that level. Then from the second day, goes at 6 and over, and this innings goes at above 5 and over, where he's bowling full, half full, a full and wide to Aidan Markham, where he hit him for 4 through point. So that's why I said if Scott Boland did bowl in this match, then South Africa would not have crossed 110 in their first innings, and you could have had a more economical bowling option in this case. But they didn't do that. Josh Hazelwood is not fit. I'll say this again. Today, I thought what I'm going to mention, it was slightly less, but on the first day, he is retracting his non-bowling arm quickly. There was a bit of a lunge about the bowling arm, so that he was thinking, okay, there's some seam movement in the wicket. He didn't bowl at above 133 kph for most of this match, and he wasn't fit. He was just looking for the seam movement off the wicket to help him, and he got the wicket of Tristan Stubbs with that. But I don't think he's anywhere near full fitness. So Mitchell Starc going for runs. Josh Hazelwood not near full fitness. Bo Webster's a defensive bowler, cannot pick one wicket in any case. Nathan Lyon, because of the lack of bounce on this wicket, which was what helps him in bowling in Australia, he did struggle to hit lengths consistently in this case. So you've only got Pat Cummins, and I think the hopes only will rely on him when going to this final day when South Africa needs 69 runs. So I think South Africa will win this match, and let's see what happens. And I'll give a more detailed review after the match is over tomorrow. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, share with friends. Remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?